So now we're going to talk a little bit about distance learning. So distance learning is an option for our students who maybe could not get into a course in our schedule and they want to fill their timetable with a class. We do the signups for distance learning in June once you have seen your class schedule here, and if we're having trouble fitting in a certain class because it's just not working with the timetable. Parents are definitely involved in this process. A permission form needs to be signed to enroll in distance learning courses because we want you to be aware of the fact that your child is taking a distance learning class. It's a little bit of a different phenomenon, especially during COVID times, because the school division is doing a lot of their distance learning classes in 2-month intensives, which means that the class that would normally to be over 5 months is going in 2 months, or potentially maybe even over 3 months, depending on how they decide to set it up for next year, which we do not know yet. So distance learning at this particular time is actually not something that I would really recommend unless you really need to take it just because of all of those obstacles. Now, having said that, if you're really interested in distance learning, it can be a great way to pick up an extra class, to pursue an interest area that maybe you weren't able to do here at school. However, having said that, you will also look in the student handbook, and we're going to post a list of classes that are offered in more the flex ed learning model that is through our school. So during a spare, a student can pick up a class like entrepreneurship, financial literacy, mental health, and addictions, and work on those classes during that spare in a more flexible model over the 5-month period of a semester that would be offered here. Now, this is a great option that Mr. Earhart and Mrs. Huckle have presented to our students here, just so that there are more options, because this distance learning model was not working very well for us in the COVID times because of those 2-month longs. So I just really feel like I need to explain that. Now, if you are also looking, there's still other school divisions like that have classes that might not be offered with our school division or that we cannot offer at this school. And again, those signups would be in June as well. If you have a special interest area, please let me know and we can see if we can get you enrolled in that class. But the cost would be between $400 and $500, and that would be out of your own pocket, and you would not get reimbursed for that. Just some things to be reminded of when we're taking distance learning. And I've asked these students, these are student comments. So you need to commit time to working to your DL class every day. Have a binder for that class and set time aside. Distance learning classes aren't for everybody. You have to need the class or be really interested and motivated so that you will want to work on it. Get ahead because it catches up on you just like regular classes. Don't wait until the last minute to finish. It's good to take different classes that aren't offered at EHS. Stay on pace because if you get behind, it's harder to catch up because you have to teach yourself. So those are some pieces of advice. Now, this is kind of a sheet that you're going to have in the middle of your student handbook that you're going to get in your grade 9 year. And it's a good tracking mechanism for you to just mark down all the classes that you're taking, all the classes that you pass, so that you make sure that you're on track to graduate. It also has listed for you on the bottom half of the page here, and you'll see on the other side, next sheet here, all of the options for electives. So because right now it's really difficult for you to fast track maths or sciences to take a grade 11 math or science, I would really highly recommend exploring the full gamut of classes that you could potentially take that are grade 10 classes, like commercial cooking, band, continue on with that if you are taking band right now, visual art 10, accounting 10, French 10. A lot of universities still across Canada require that second language that many students are lacking, and it also works as a higher level elective. A lot of our French students get really good marks in that class. So I would really highly recommend still looking at those grade 10 classes instead of jumping up ahead, because you can't it's not really an option this year to do that because we can't mix grade 10 and grade 11 students together. Now, post-secondary plans. So kind of helping you along this path is taking that CWE class. So if you want to know what you're going to be planning on doing, that's a good start. Counseling on an individual basis, coming to see me and we can talk through some things. Grade 10s, I don't really talk to about that because we have the CWE class, but I meet once with grade 11 students and then twice with grade 12 students, and usually more with grade 12 students towards the end of their years here, to make sure that they are doing everything that they need to do to get ready for that post-secondary planning and stuff. Making sure that you have those science requirements, look at that, super important. Same with the math. Remember we talked about, some university classes require a math class. Some programs require a certain high-level math class, so making sure that you're taking the right one. Start looking now at university websites and searching on there for the requirements for admission, even for your trades and for any technical institutes. A polytechnic will also have the requirements for admission on there for things that you're interested in. We have brochures here at the Career Guidance Center too that we would love to hand out to you if you ever need any information. There is a career guidance website, and I'm just going to click on it here. You've already been exposed to this a little bit because this is the site where you found this information. So this is going to seem a little bit old because this is last year's because we haven't updated it, but it has great stuff on here. So how to log on to EDSB, apprenticeship information, what you need to do to get a career in the trades, scholarships and loans, ACT testing. So if you're planning on going to school in the States, there's just a lot of great information on here. We try to update it regularly so that you guys have good up-to-date information. If something's really outdated, please let me know so that I can fix it. And then open campus. So just to explain this really briefly, in grade 10, we expect all of our grade 10 students to take 10 classes, which means they have no spares. Grade 11s take 9 classes, which means they get 1 spare, and grade 12s need to take 8 classes, they get 2 spares. Over the years, Mr. Earhart and the admin team has just found that this is the best way to make sure that all of our students get the right classes and the classes that they need in order to graduate. It also is really important to take this amount of classes, because if you're taking any less, you run the risk of not graduating and your marks seem to fall the less classes you're taking. I know that seems counterintuitive, but especially in those grade 12 students, when they only took a certain amount of classes, like enough 24 to graduate, their grades in those classes were actually lower than they were when they were taking more classes. So just something to bear in mind. This is the open campus rule. So if you are taking more spares than this, we close up your campus, which means you are required to be here at school and attendance is taken, and you don't get that spare, essentially. You have to be here. You will be here working on other classes. Your attendance will be taken, and you are accounted for during that time. So that's the minimum course loads that we have here every year. Attendance. Regular attendance is really important. After 15 absences, and if you are below a 50%, you could potentially be removed from your class. So it's really important to be here. And you can look at the Esterhazy High School Handbook. This is at the school website, and it has a bunch of great information always on there about dress code, fees, registration.